Hi, my name is Shobit Narang, and today on Balcony Ticket, I have with me the extremely talented and super charming Rohit Saraf. Rohit, I wanted to start by asking you what would an ideal day in life of Rohit Saraf look like?
Well, the last couple of days have been it changes every day, right? Because we don't know, not no 2 days are similar, but more or less, I'll tell you what's been happening the last couple of days, which is I've been waking up and I've been either going to shoot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at shoot till whatever for the next 12 hours, and after that, I finish shoot and then I meet my friends. Either I meet my friends or I have dinner with them, or I come back home, have dinner by myself, and watch something until I fall asleep. Uh, that's what it has looked like. Like today, and the days when I'm not shooting,
Yeah.
I'm working on something else. It's usually working from home. So I would wake up in the morning and then you'd see me on my phone working for 10 hours straight. And after that, once I'm done with that, then I would again retire. Either I would watch something that I'm enjoying, or I would step out and meet a couple of friends. Have something to eat, come back home and fall asleep. That's what it looks like, honestly. Yeah.
Rohit, take us to your journey. When did this love for acting begin, and what are some of your earliest works?
My love for cinema and this profession in general, like acting, began after I became an actor.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I was curious before. I
Mhm.
was inquisitive, but I wasn't sure if I love it. And that happened after I became an actor. I went on set. I performed on day one, and after that, when they set back up and I was on my way back home, is when I realized, okay, I love this and I want to do this for the rest of my life. So that's how it began. And initially I actually worked on a TV show called, I was a youth show on Channel V. It was called Best Friends Forever. So I did that for about 6 months, and after that, and while I was doing that, I did a lot of TV commercials. I did a lot of advertisements. Then I did this film called Banana, which was produced by John Ibrahim and Sheel Kumar, directed by Sajid Ali. So I did that film, and after that, I took a break because I thought that the film's going to release. But then after that, when it didn't, and it got shelved, is when I started auditioning again, and that's when like Dear Zindagi happened, and then one led to the other. So yeah,
Okay, so if not acting, what would have been an ideal alternative career?
I think it would be something to do with like arts, like performing arts or fine arts, because I also paint a lot. I sketch a lot. I used to be a dancer before, and I really enjoy like interiors. So it would have been one of these things. I'm not sure what, but yeah, most likely something creative.
2020 has been hell of a year. So
Yeah.
congratulations on the back-to-back success of Ludo and Mismatched. But Rohit, what's that feeling like? So if you had to describe 2020 in one sentence, how would you describe it?
I can describe it in one word, and that's a blessing. That's all.
Wow.
2020 has been nothing short of a dream. It has been everything that a person wants it to be, and it was incredible. Yeah, I mean, even the time when we were in a lockdown and nothing was moving,
Yeah.
I'm so grateful for that time because there is so much that shifted in my life during that time. So yeah, it was a blessing. 2020.
Right. And how did you spend most of your time while we were in this lockdown? Was it painting? Was it dancing?
Oh, no, it was not dancing. It was painting. I spent a lot of time watching a lot of things. I spent a lot of time reading. I spent a lot of time with my family. My mom actually loves gardening, so I did a lot of that with her. And yeah, I cooked a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us, we actually resorted to cinema and film watching when we were in this lockdown. So I want you
Yeah.
to tell a little bit about your favorite films that you discovered while you were in this lockdown.
Favorite film while I discovered in this lockdown. It's not a film, but I actually saw Delhi Crime during the lockdown, and I was blown away. I think it's a beautiful show which is so well made, it's impeccably performed, and I loved that. I watched Schitt's Creek during the lockdown, and I am so grateful that I did because It's changed my life. I feel like my life is funnier now. So very grateful for that. And yeah, I watched a lot more series than films, and I watched a lot of crime thriller during the lockdown.
Wow.
So yeah.
Yeah. Rohit, who were your greatest artistic influences while you were growing up?
My greatest artistic influences were actually it was whatever I would watch. I've actually I used to watch a lot of dancers earlier, and these aren't dancers who I have religiously followed, but I actually got very inspired. What inspired me to take up dancing was, there was a show called So You Think You Can Dance, and I used to watch that, and I would like there would be this sudden rush of energy that I would feel inside me, and that's what made me want to even try dancing. And when I did, people told me that you're good at it and you shouldn't leave it. So I took it more seriously. My the whole where it stems from, the whole creative side where it stems from, is the fact that my mom and my sisters, they've all been phenomenal when they sketch, and like they're really good at fine arts. So I always saw them do that, and I would always get inspired looking at them. But when it came to dancing, like I said, I used to watch a lot of So You Think You Can Dance, and that's where I got inspired from. So that's how it started for me. My journey with painting and dancing started from there. Of course, when I started formally training as a dancer, is when I realized that it's not just dancing, but it's a form of storytelling, and that's how I got inspired, and that's how my journey with cinema started. My journey with storytelling started. So yeah, that happened, and after that, I would of course, my father was a huge movie buff, so he would watch a lot of films, and I may not watch it every day with him, but I watched quite a few with him. I was very young at that time, like I was 6 7, so I don't even remember most of the films that I watched, but I remember that feeling of being next to him and watching that film, watching films. And I think those are the things that have inspired me very, very deeply. They've shaped me in the person that I am today. They've inspired me tremendously.
So lovely. I wanted us to talk a little bit about The Sky is Pink because it's such a beautiful film about this complex emotion called grief. So, what are your greatest takeaways from that film as an individual and as an artist?
I think the moment we talk about grief, it, it's uncomfortable, right? It's uncomfortable because people don't like that emotion. And I think my biggest takeaway from that film was the fact that grief is as important an emotion as is happiness. We disregard it, we discount it, we brush it under the carpet, we don't want to face it. Because, of course, nobody wants to cry, but it's very, very important for you to understand that those emotions exist, and if you don't face them, they will catch up. And I think that's what I learned with Sky is Pink. There is some, in fact, I really wish that you get to speak to Shonali Bose about this, because she has the most beautiful relationship with how she deals with grief. There is something called as grief work that she does. It's unfortunate, but she lost a son at a very young age when he was 16, while we were shooting. In fact, the day I got locked for the film is the day she lost her sister. She has this very strange yet very beautiful relationship with deaths, and how she deals with them. So there is actually something called as grief work, where you actually sit with that emotion, you sit with that feeling, you sit with that emotion, and you internalize it, you process it, and then you channelize it into doing something that lets you release it. It's beautiful, and I was so happy that she let me do that, because I lost my dad when I was 11, and I felt like my entire world changed overnight. Suddenly the next morning, we had to take responsibility for a lot of things and whatnot. And when that happened, I think it's nature, it's human nature, that you tend to you have to move on. You have to just go on with your life. You have to make up for everything that's been lost. So you have to work, that hard to kind of bring it back. You know, bring yourself back into the center of your life. And I think while you do that, like I said, you disregard all the emotions that are very important and are festering, but you don't pay attention to it. While I was doing that film, I could go back to those emotions that I left 10 years behind and address them and acknowledge them and process them and then release them finally. So yeah, it was the most beautiful experience that I had.
Right. Do you think acting is a creative outlet?
Most definitely. What else is it? It's exactly that. It's you go through so much in your life, and I feel so blessed. For all the artists, I feel it's incredible because you can actually channelize everything that you're feeling into your work, into what you do for a living. I am so glad that I get to experience 1,000 emotions in one day and really dissect them and understand them from where they stem from. It's the most amazing thing ever.
Sounds very wholesome. So, but Rohit, The Sky is Pink traveled internationally and was acclaimed worldwide. So, is there any particular memory that you have with that film?
We were at TIFF. Firstly, I had never watched a film of mine with 2,000 people. It had never happened, right? So I remember I was sitting next to me was Shivani Dandekar, next to her was Farhan, then there was Shonali. On my left, there was Priyanka and everyone else. And we sat and we watched the film first, and it was surreal to see 2,000 people reacting to our work. Like we saw it. We saw people crying. We saw people laughing. We saw people at the edge of their seat to, not knowing what to expect. We saw that. And then I remember the film got over and there was pink light that was on all of us, right? And then we had people who got, so funny that you're asking me this question because literally this morning when I woke up, I saw that video. I swear to God, I'm not even saying this for effect, but this morning I saw it where we had 2,000 people who stood up on their feet and they clapped for us for 15 minutes straight. And we got a standing ovation for that long. That was the first time we had audience for our work. Like we'd seen the film before, obviously I had seen it, the entire cast and crew had seen it. But this was the first time our baby was going to be out in the world for people to, come and watch and experience and, tell us what they think. And to get that kind of a reaction, where people stood up, clapped for us, waited for us to exit, which was 15 minutes later. They kept clapping and we had people who came up to us, hugged us, cried with us. It was the most beautiful feeling ever. So yeah, that is my most cherished memory from that travel. Yeah.
Can only imagine. So coming back to your 2020 work, now you did Ludo, and Mr. Anurag Basu is known for working without scripts. So tell us a little bit about that process.
Earlier I used to just really question it as to why it is like that. But while we were promoting, he actually said something that made so much sense to me that for example, right now you're asking me questions. This is what he said to, that person who was taking his interview. And he said, you're asking me so many questions right now in the interview, but I say something and that may spring up another question for you. Yeah. Are you going to say that, no, I'm going to stick to what my format is, or are you going to come out and ask me another question that you don't have in mind? That's exactly what filmmaking is for me. Right now, this is the story that I have in my mind, but the way the actors perform, the way I'm feeling, the way the scenes come out, maybe I'll feel something else and maybe I'll want to do that in my film because I feel like that works. Right. So that is the sole reason as to why he doesn't have a script. Yeah. Now, it's very important that people understand without a script, you cannot go ahead and make a film. In the end, you have to get your story copyrighted. What do you tell a producer? You can't tell them that mere paas ek idea hai, mujhe paise de do. That's not going to happen, right? Yeah. So there is a script, but he just doesn't believe that everyone needs to know it, because also when you're going on an Anurag Basu film set, you need to trust him for his expertise. I mean, right. He is a genius after all. So it was incredible. I mean, first few days were a little daunting because I didn't know what to expect. But the moment I let go of the inhibition, the moment I let go of the apprehensions, it became a joyride, it became a playground, and we just had lots of fun.
I think I read this somewhere that you had to switch between the two projects. That was Mismatched and Ludo.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
how
yeah,
were
yeah,
you able
yeah.
to navigate through that?
Yeah. Oh, that was a little disorienting. I'll be very honest because so Dada doesn't work with scripts and it's fully like
Yeah, organic.
spontaneous.
Yeah, spontaneous.
Yeah, it's fully spontaneous, very, very, you're constantly improvising on his set and whatnot. So that's Dada. And then I had to go to Akarsh's set, which was Mismatched,
Yeah.
which was the opposite. You rehearse the scenes before you go and perform.
Yeah.
You talk about it. You live with that scene for a while before you perform it. I had Akarsh's script almost about 40 days before we were going to start shooting.
Hmm.
So I spent enough time with that. Um, so that was confusing because then I was suddenly, oh, okay, I have a script and I need to go through it and I need to like see what they need from the script and whatnot. And then from that, I had to again come back to Ludo, which is again without a script, and again you had to, you had to just be there. So it was a little disorienting, but it was a fun exercise nonetheless. It was great fun. Also, the funny part is that Akash has actually assisted Dada for a very long time.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was great fun.
That's so lovely. So a few days ago, you had posted this super wholesome picture on Instagram with Mr. Anurag Basu, Mr. Akash Khurana, and Mr.
Yes.
Anand Tiwari. So tell us a
Yes.
little bit about that. What was that day like?
It was actually so. I called Dada very randomly, one night because I was missing him and it had been a while since we spoke. So I called him and I said, "Dada, how's it going?" and whatnot. And we were talking, and he's there, and I just said, "Dada, will you come for dinner? Please, let's meet. It's been a while." So he said, "Yeah, of course I'll come. You call your other directors also." I said, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Call Akash, call Anand, because we've worked together for so long. It's been a really long time since I met them also. It'll be really fun, to get together." I was like, "I don't think this is gonna happen because like nobody's gonna show up. I know it, but let me give this a shot." So I asked, and everyone just said yes. And the biggest surprise to me was that actually everyone arrived, and it wouldn't happen if it weren't for Dada, but it did. And that night was the most incredible night of my life because I saw these three amazing directors come together and actually behave like children, like how people are when they're in school.
Yeah.
And you meet them after a really long time, like you meet your school friends after a really long time. That is exactly how it was that night. They were at my house for about 4.5 hours, and they could not stop laughing. And the best part was that I had my mom with me, I had my sister with me. So all six of us, six, seven of us, we all sat together and just had the most beautiful conversations, shared the most amazing stories, the most fun stories, and just celebrated. It was an incredible night, and I'm just so happy that something like that could happen.
Okay, what's the best advice someone's given you from the film fraternity, your director or your co-actor, that's really shaped you and reshaped you?
I think it's been more than anything else. I think it's been Dada and my mum who've repeatedly told me that you need to be very honest with your performances. If you're not honest, you're not going to go far. You can't pretend like you're acting. You have to be honest. You have to actually feel those things that your characters are feeling. Otherwise, it's not going to strike a chord with your audiences. And I think that is the best advice I've ever got from somebody. And I think I'm going to cherish that and keep that with me and imply that in my life for the rest of my life.
That's lovely. That's really lovely. I think we can't even keep a count of number of open letters and edits and posts that are dedicated to you on social media on everyday basis. So what is that like? Do you engage with them online? Do you like that space?
I do engage with them online because why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
They make so much effort they put in so much effort to make things for me just to make me feel a certain way. And I think that is the highlight of my day, to be very honest. Whenever I find the time, which is in the morning, sometimes in the afternoon, sometimes at night before I go to bed, I go through those things that have been said about me, that my fan pages say about me, that the people who follow me, they say about me. The comments, the edits, the open letters, the reels and whatnot. There are so many things that they make, and in fact, so many artworks. Like they actually sketch me, and it's the most most rewarding thing ever. It's their love. That's why we perform. It's the most rewarding thing for an actor, for any artist. I feel like it's nothing short of a dream, and there is not a single day where I don't feel special. I could be having the toughest and the most ridiculous day, and I could just go on my social media, and that would change my entire day. So it's incredible. It's the most humbling thing ever.
Right. You are now officially known as the National Crush. So I want you to share any particular message that has really stayed with you.
I think there has been something unanimous that's come to me in the last couple of months, and that's been how, a lot of people say that while you play different characters, they're so different from one another. But there is one thing that stays with us, and that is we see a little bit of you in every character, and we can relate to that. And I think that stays with me. I think the fact when people tell me that, your performance changed something in my life for the better, your performance shifted something in my heart, or it inspired me. There are so many times when, people message me and say that your journey, you're striving hard to, do everything that you want to do in life. And that's inspiring us to do better in our life. And that really stays with me. I feel like if I can help someone, then that's a life well lived. And that just makes me really happy. So yeah.
Okay, what are those 5 adjectives that describe you the best?
Sensitive, driven, ambitious, articulate,
romantic. Can we just add romantic to that?
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. I think we've got lots to talk about, but we'll have to keep this conversation short. So in closing, I would like to ask you to share one thing, a lesser known fact about you for your fans.
A lesser known fact about me is that, they know a lot about me, but a lesser known fact is that I had hair up till my bum till the time I was 5. That is, I'm not sure if many people know this, but yeah, that is a lesser known fact.
Okay, once again, thank you so much for having this conversation. I genuinely had a lovely time talking to you.
Thank you so much, Rohit. This was lovely, and these questions were so fresh, so much fun, answering them. And thank you for this lovely conversation.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and never miss an update on Film Interactions.